All right, let's talk about working with tables, right? So tables are, usually referred to as grids. So let's talk about working with tables. All right, so if I'm going to peep into my app data, my visual state, I have this list. Pricing details is basically the Inhouse Cloud pricing page, right? Pricing details, right? How do I get this data? I've just initialized this data in my app data. You can get data that looks similar to this from databases, from APIs, from any data source. All right, so let's consume this data with a table element. All right, so I'm going to look at my elements. I'm going to scroll all the way down to data visualization or so actually components. And I see this table element here. I'm going to just drag it to screen. So I have the table. I can select it really quickly, and I could let's just redesign this a little bit. I'm going to add a width of 90%. I'm going to center this auto. Gonna put a little bit of space on top so we can see it clearly. All right. So just like with a lot of things on this platform, we always keep going back to app data, right? So what field in our app data should this table be binded to, right? And if we go over here, we have something called this field called pricing details. I'm just going to copy it. Now, one thing to note, right? One thing to note is that with tables, we do have this auto generate feature. So whenever you bind an element with a um, data field, uh, we can automatically generate the table. Or if this is false, then you would have to generate your table column by column. And we have some, a filter by default that you can toggle off and on. And we have the scroll width and the scroll left position in case you want to have some logic to do some pagination. Uh, you have full control. All right, so let's paste this in. All right, so we have the auto generate on. So as you can see, we have basically generated the table. And if we were to turn off the filter, that goes away. Uh, we have a very simple table. If we look at our table hierarchy, if we looked at the data row wrapper, we have a fixed height here. If we take this out, then this table kind of expands. And then we could go into the rows. I think we have the row element. And we could do the same thing. We can take off this height, let it spread its wings. And as you can see, we have a uh, table that displays all the data that we have uh, available. All right, so one thing we could do is that we might want to hide a column. So that's easy. So all we just need to do is to go back to our table, go back to the settings, scroll all the way down to the columns. And what we could do is that we could hide something that we do not want to display. Let's say we don't want to display features. Sorry, feature description. We could click on the manage visibility and we could basically toggle this off. This again is a script user interface. So if you want this to be dynamic, if you wanted it to be based on some logic, you could set this to a function and you could do something like, if it's in the desktop mode, keep this in here. If it's in the tablet mode, remove it. So you have full control. All right, so let's toggle that out, update. And as you can see, our table does not have this column. And because of this table is auto-generated, it's based on the initial state of the table. So now that we've removed one column, what we can do is that we could basically resize the column header. And when we resize the column header, all the elements in that column will take the size of the column header. This is a very important concept to note, right? That when it comes to columns, they all look to the header for their width property. And tables in Inhouse Cloud are somewhat different than it is on any other platform because here we don't give you a pre-built table. This table is basically a combination of raw elements, and you can drag and drop and do just about anything with this table. So let me just refresh the page really quick. All right, and just to demo this, I will come over here to this column cell. I am going to, it already has uh, the flex display. So what we're going to do here is that we're just going to drag in something. We're going to drag in an icon. All right, I think put it on top, it goes to the back. All right, so here we have it. We've just dragged an icon into our table. What if we wanted to drag in something ridiculous? Let's drag in a, uh, a media player. Where is it? All right, let's drag in a media player. As you can see, we basically just dragged in a media player into our table. Obviously, our styling is all jacked up now, but I just wanted to beat this point down that you can basically drag in anything into your tables. These tables are as dynamic as everything else on the page. You can drag and drop into it. You could put some conditional logic in here. So you can treat these table elements like every other element on the page. It's yours to play with. All right, this has been a quick walkthrough of tables. I begin to use tables to show data in very interesting ways. Of course, there are no limits, so get at it.